Hey guys, it's Neil again from Heart of Texas Armory, and today I want to do a video showing you guys how you can regulate your Vostok watch. And the reason you would regulate a watch would be to either speed up or slow down the movement. So sometimes, you get a watch and it's running right in, the manufacturer specs on how fast it is or slow per day. But occasionally you're going to get a watch that's going to run too fast or too slow. Whether it's just because it's a vintage watch or it's a new watch and they didn't regulate it from the factory or whatever the reason is, regulating is there so you can fine-tune your watch to get it to run more accurately. Luckily with these Vostok watches, it's actually a very easy process, and you just need a minimum amount of tools to do this, and it just takes seconds to actually regulate a watch. So the first thing you want to do is get you a case back opener, something like this, and you're going to want to open up your case back. Now I already kind of broke the seal a little bit, so it's not going to be too difficult to do this. So let me go ahead and get this off there. We'll rotate the lock ring off, which will allow us to open up the movement by popping the case back off. And let me go ahead and zoom in now just a little bit with my camera. That way I can get a better view for you guys of this. There we go. Okay, now one thing I'll mention off the bat is whenever you're opening up your case back, you want to make sure you have no liquids, that you're not in an area with a lot of dirt, sand, dust blowing around. Make sure you're in a clean environment. And then the last thing I want to mention with these is you definitely don't want to be using tools that are magnetized. So you can see here I just got a toothpick, and that's what I'd recommend you to do this process. If you have like a little tool, a metal tool or metallic tool that you're going to use to push the lever, make sure it's not magnetized, because you definitely don't want to transfer that magnetism into your watch components. So let's go ahead and take off this case back here, and I'll just lift that up gently, set aside. Okay, now what you want to do is rotate your automatic wheel out of the way, because where we're going to be messing around with is in here, right there. And I want to make sure I'm completely in focus, so okay. So what you see jumping around in there is your balance wheel and your balance spring or hairspring. You definitely, when you're poking around with this toothpick, you don't want to be touching those components. You don't want to bend that spring. You don't want to knock it out of alignment. Just you got to be very, very delicate with this. So make sure you have a steady hand, and just be very careful you do not impact that balance wheel at all. So you'll see here there's two levers. There's one here, and let me see if I can actually zoom in a little more. I don't know if this is going to work for you guys. Here we go. Actually, that's not too bad. If it'll focus. It went out of focus. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay, so there's two little levers here. There's this one here, and then there's that one there. That is your regulating lever. Do not touch this one. That is a big no-no. So don't touch that lever there. So what you want to do is you want to look on your watch plate right here, and you'll see there's a plus and a minus sign. That's the rotations that you will rotate it to speed up or slow down the watch. So the plus is on the right-hand side if we were looking at it. And let me just rotate this around just so we can orient it properly. And one more time, I'm going to try to focus this, because again, this is very small parts here. You're going to see a plus sign here on my watch and a minus sign to the left of it. Little marks. If this lever was lined up in the middle of it, that is the direction you want to rotate. So plus would be clockwise, minus counterclockwise. So if you want to make your watch slower, you're going to bump that lever. Again, I'm sorry, my hand's kind of moving. We're very zoomed in here, very small parts. You're going to move that lever right there. So if we're going to slow down the movement, we're going to rotate it counterclockwise. If you want to speed it up, you go clockwise. Now, this is a very, very, very sensitive lever, so when you move these things, you want to just barely bump it. I mean, almost where you can't even tell that you've moved this lever. It's a very sensitive lever. So it's hard to say how much, you need to move it. So, if your watch is off by like 2 minutes a day fast and you want to slow it down, you might actually bump it just a little bit more than but the point I'm trying to make is it's a very sensitive lever, and you want to just go one little small bump at a time. You can always come back and adjust this more. What I'd recommend you do is, say if we're going to slow it down, we're going to bump that lever just a little bit, put your case back on, tighten it up, not all the way. That way it's easier to remove that when you need to, if you have to adjust it more. But put your case back on, tighten it down a little bit, and wear your watch for, say, 2 or 3 hours. That way and make sure you keep track of the time. Sync it with an atomic clock and see how fast or how slow your watch is off of that over a set time period, say a few hours, or if you want to do it, 24 hours, however you want to do it, just get a set time. That way you keep track of how accurate your watch is. If you need to readjust it, you need to come back in here and, again, move your lever one way or the other. So, again, this is how you regulate a Vostok watch. Very simple. It's incredibly easy to maintain these things. So, the most important thing is make sure you don't get any dust or dirt into that balancing wheel right there. Don't touch the balancing wheel. Do not touch this lever up here, that second one, the larger of the two on the Vostoks here. Do not touch that lever. And then when you move this, just barely move it. Just try it little bitty bumps at a time. Just barely move it, guys. Don't overdo this, because it will throw your watch way off if you move this thing just a hair's length. It's going to throw it off a large amount. So just barely move it and just play around with it. You might have to do a little trial and error. And then also don't use any magnetic tools. That's most important. If you have yourself like a toothpick or something you can use like this here, that's what I would suggest you use, something that's not magnetized. So that's about it, guys. I hope this helps you. It's very easy to regulate your Vostok watches. Just take your time and follow these steps, and it's going to work for you. If you got any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And if you enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all guys take care.